Good evening, boys and girls. Welcome back to another Friday edition of Press Break, the off season. I am your host, Sports with BJ, and of course, I'm always joined by my co-host JTZ4 El Capitan, the founder of Sports Shift Media. How are we doing tonight, JT?
Oh, I'm doing good. It's finally Friday. Been a long week. A lot of work going on. Coffee shops coming along, but I'm ready to have a few drinks and talk about some old jerseys.
Absolutely. So speaking of having a few drinks, it's Freestyle Friday. Is what we do here on Press Break, the off season. And as always, we will introduce y'all to our beverage of choice this evening. So JT, start us off.
We're running a little thin here at Wilcox Street. I'm going with some Sunlight Cream Ale. Never tried it before, but it's been in the back of the fridge. So first sip, I'll tell you how it tastes.
It sounds like some kind of alcoholic cream soda.
Pretty good.
Okay.
It's interesting.
Sunset cream.
Any ales are going to be decent. It's from Indianapolis. For anybody out there, go check them out. Sunlight or Sun King Brewery.
Okay, I love that. Sun King Brewery and the Sunrise Ale.
Sunrise
Cream.
Sunlight. Yeah.
Okay. Sunlight. All right. Well, I went a little heavy last week, so I am on some truly blackberry seltzers. Or black cherry seltzers this week. It was a little bud heavy last week, if you ask me.
Yeah, I'm in search of the new ones, the fruit, the punch packs. Did you guys see those?
We had them about 2 weekends in a row at softball. Yeah, they're good.
Okay, I haven't tried any yet. I guess before we get too much into this, we haven't introduced our guest yet. My friend Tony is joining us for the draft. Tony, what are you drinking?
We're going with the old classic Busch Light tonight.
Can't go wrong.
A staple. So that's
can't go wrong with that.
Always stocked in the refrigerator.
Have you tried those punch pack things yet?
I haven't. No.
I've been on a seltzer kick, but got to try those ones to get all the collection out of the way.
Yeah, you were rocking with the high noons there for a minute, weren't you?
Oh, those are my favorite. I'll never find a seltzer that beats that, but I got to at least try them.
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, hey, we're going to get into it here. Typically, every Friday, we like to be a little bit sporadic. We like to let the topics come to us, but we had a fun topic here that we wanted to get to, and the topic would be best jerseys of all time. If you could take all jerseys, all uniforms, whatever you want to call it, and think of the best ones of all time, and you could only pick 5, what would they be? And we decided, you know what? We're a sports show at the core. We are a sports show. So we had to take it a step further and, of course, make it a draft. So, JT, you're the one who came up with this idea. I don't want to take your baby away from you. Explain to the audience how this is going to work today.
I mean, so this all came about because I saw different podcasts do a jersey draft. And I thought it was terrible.
The KFC podcast on
KFC Radio. Yeah, KFC Radio on Barstool. I mean, they are a comedy podcast, so they weren't really trying to go sports specific. It was pretty funny, but I didn't like the picks. And I don't know about you guys, but I know playing NBA 2K and some of those other video games, the best part was picking teams with cool jerseys.
Mm-hmm.
That was like one of my favorite parts about the game. When they would come out with alternate jerseys, they would update, and you could play with those. So I thought that was cool. They went more player specific, just jerseys like that they had when they were growing up and different things like that. The conversation got started because of somebody started talking about the Carmelo Nuggets jersey that may be on some boards later on.
It might be,
but that's how the conversation got started, and I think it's a good topic to talk about. So I'm excited to see what you guys have, because I probably spent the last 3 days just searching at all jerseys because it's so fun. I know when I was growing up, my parents didn't really buy me jerseys. They thought they were too expensive, and I only would wear them a couple times. But so a lot of these are nostalgia picks, that the jerseys that I really wish that I had growing up.
Absolutely. Hey, that's a good list to have, because not everyone has the same experience as you do. But whenever we talk about drafts, you have to have a draft board. For those of you that aren't aware, draft board is a list so deep that at least you have the amount of players you need to always pick someone you want, right? You want your draft board to be deep enough to where if all your picks get taken from you, you still have people on the list that you can draft that you actually want on your team. So the question has to be asked, how deep are the draft boards? Tony, I'm going to start with you. How deep is your draft board this evening? How many jerseys do you have?
I got about 16 or so. So I
Ooh.
am well prepared for this in case any of you guys take any of the first few picks that I have listed. We have several backups, so we'll be good.
And for those of you not watching on Facebook, first of all, shame on you. Second of all, Tony is sporting a nice Nike Dry Fit FSU jersey, so I have to ask the question as a good host. What will we maybe be surprised with some throwback FSU jerseys?
Quite possibly. We'll see. It might be on the list. I didn't want to be too much of a homer with my favorite teams, even though I do love the jerseys, but I guess time will tell.
And hey, that's another aspect of drafting great jerseys. You might not have the same team affiliations as the other draftees, so that could be some safe picks for you. But we're talking depth of draft board. So JT, how deep is your draft board this evening?
I tried to do like Tony and get to at least 15 so that I knew that I was safe. I have 13 that I'm very confident in that I think I can win the draft with those ones. And then there's a few others sitting just off the draft board that if I need them, they're in a glass plate that in case of emergency, I can smash that out.
You got a little tiny hammer to go with that?
Yeah.
I love that. Well, my draft board is 12 deep. I'm very confident in my picks. I have a very eclectic and unique personality, so some of my stuff might be off the wall. I'm sure that some of the classics will be in there, and I might lose some draft picks, but I'm more comfortable with that. JT said a perfect segue. He thinks he can win this draft with his 13 solid picks that he has. Here's how this is going to work. We have predetermined the draft order. We had a lovely assistant who helped us determine who would get the first pick, and we let people choose where they wanted to draft if they won the first pick. Tony elected to go second with his first choice, or third, I'm sorry, so he could get back-to-back picks. I went with second overall so that I would have less picks between me as much as JT will, and who chose the number one, or I should say got defaulted, which is unique. You got defaulted to the first round pick, the first overall pick.
Which I think my number one pick, I don't know if I would have picked third. I don't know if this one gets to me, so I think I'm kind of happy with that accidentally falling into the first pick.
Okay, and the strategy's already boiling over. I love it. Everyone's got their own strategy, and we're going to see how this pans out here. So again, how this works, we've already determined the order. You know the draft picked order. Keep in tune with us on our social media, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We're going to be everywhere with everyone's 5 picks, and we're going to let y'all vote who has the best jersey collection in their closet after we do this draft. So it's very interactive. We're dependent on you for some feedback. Please don't shy away from giving us the business and letting us know who made some bad picks, who made some great picks, and at the end of the day, who has the best overall closet when it comes to jersey collections. So with that being said, let's get into it. I will keep order of who has drafted who. The order is Jake, Brandon, Tony. Jake, with the first overall selection in the 2021 Ultimate All-Time Jersey Draft, you take?
I am taking the UNC Tar Heels. I think Tar Heel blue is, they named the color after these jerseys. So I think that I had to go with a classic to start because a lot of my other ones are retros, alternates. This one's never going to let you down. They don't really stray from their colors. A lot of other schools are getting away from that. They're kind of trying to throw in a bunch of alternates that when you're watching them, it doesn't really look like that school. But UNC usually keeps it pretty tight. I like the what's that called? The Argyle pattern on the sides of the jerseys. So I think Tar Heel blue, UNC, just a classic college jersey. I had to go with that number one.
Okay. How do you feel about that, Tony? Anything huge coming off your board?
No, that wasn't towards the top, though it was in what I have as my honorable mentions. I do like that. It is a classic, and I think it's a solid pick.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm going to be completely honest. And Tony, this may shock you. It probably will not shock JT. That didn't even make my top 12. I guess because I see it so many times a year in all the sports. Yes, they're beautiful, but there's some other ones out there that I could go with.
I figured so. That's also a pick to try to please fans too. I don't know how much interaction we're going to get on this, but I
You
feel
playing
like
the politics game?
mine are so the back end of my draft is going to be so strange and unique to me that I felt like I had to take something. I wasn't sure how you guys were going to go with it,
Okay.
so I wanted to make sure to get like a staple that kind of everybody can get behind before I
Sure.
just get weird with it.
All right, well, strong pick to start us off there. Jake takes the UNC Tar Heels, their most famous baby blue on white, or is it white on baby? Technically, it's white on baby blue. We're talking about the home jerseys, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So good pick there, strong out of the gate. So we'll move on to the second overall pick, which I possess. And I'm going to go with the one I wanted to get. I want this in my closet. I have this in my closet. Chargers powder blue, baby. Throwing it back to the 70s, throwing it back to the LaDainian Tomlinson when he was there, and those were the alternates. I just love the lightning bolt, the highlighter yellow on the fresh powder blues. I can just see Chris Berman calling LaDainian Tomlinson long touchdowns on NFL Countdown and Sunday Night Primetime. That's my pick at number 2. Where's the reaction there?
I like it. I mean, I think so. There are certain colors that I feel that for the 15 picks that we have here between the three of us, I feel like there are certain colors that are going to keep popping up, and we have 2 back to back that are that light shade of blue. I think that's a good pick. That was on my board, so I got to cross one off. But I think you got a quality second pick.
Love that. All right, so we'll throw it over to Tony. What do you think about that pick, man? Is anything coming off your board?
Yeah, I was gonna say also the specific Charger uniform, the light powder blue, also on my board. You can't go wrong with that. Like you, I remember, LT specifically, long touchdown runs. Definitely a solid pick.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, on the accolades given to me by Tony for my pick, Tony, third overall pick in this 2021 all-time jersey draft. Who are you taking?
Well, I think so. This is difficult because there's so many. I could go on and on and on about just jerseys. I have jerseys on the list that are more historic and traditional. I have jerseys that mean a little bit more to me. I think that I could go and fill my top 5 strictly on the NBA, and that actually is where I'm going with my first pick. I did actually just see JT's sneak peek, and that is what I'm going with, which would be the 2000s Toronto Raptors. The purple throwbacks.
Such a strong pick.
Yeah, we're going to go. I mean, obviously, Vince Carter, T-Mac are the 1-2 combo that anyone thinks about whenever it comes to those jerseys. I feel like, you see them all the time anymore as throwbacks, people wearing them all over the place, concerts, whatever. So, I mean, that's I think the number 1 jersey that I would say is something for me. That's on my list, number 1.
So our brand new guest that's never been on this show hits a home run in the first ever draft on this show. God, that's such a solid pick. JT, for me, man, when I think of the dinosaur, also known as the Barney alternates, for those of you who want some little trivia there, I see 2 scenes in my head. I see Vince Carter labeling that it's over after he wins the dunk competition. And then I also see, when I think Toronto Raptors playoff basketball, these are the jerseys I see. When Vince Carter was there and they were a playoff staple and they were a Western Conference at the time. I'm not sure of the conference, but they were constantly challenging for the finals of whatever conference they were in. And that's what I see. Such a strong pick by Tony, JT.
Yeah, I mean, I numbered mine in order of which I wanted to take them, and that was actually my number 2. So I love the pick. I love the dinosaur dribbling a basketball. I think that might be one of the coolest logos in all of sports. I don't know why they ever took the purple away. I don't understand some teams taking certain colorways away. That the black and red just doesn't fit as much. You got to have a little bit of purple to help you stand out.
Yeah, I do believe, and maybe Tony can back me up. I don't know if he's a Raptors fan or not, but I believe that the theory behind going red and black as opposed to the purple, white, and red is they thought that red and black looked more like a raptor and kind of the appearance of blood. Being more ferocious, the velociraptor and all that stuff. I
because
don't know if
they changed and went with just the claw instead of the whole
yeah.
dinosaur. So
Yeah. So I don't know, but Tony coming out of the gate strong, and gosh darn it, the dude's got back-to-back picks. So go ahead and drop another bombshell on us there, Tony. Who are you taking fourth overall?
Well, I think I'm going to switch gears. This is kind of a personal favorite of mine, though I think it has mixed emotions with people in general. Some say it's one of the ugliest uniforms of all time. I disagree. That's why I'm choosing it fourth overall, and that would be my team, the Tampa Bay Buccaneer throwback creamsicle jerseys.
Oh,
Yeah, so I know it's a love hate. They haven't been around in so long now, but I think that they, have, just that historic. I mean, the Bucks were bad for so long, and they didn't have nearly any winning seasons in them. But I hear from the Tampa Bay fan base of how badly they want them to come back, at least for a game or two. So that's one of the
uh,
jerseys that I just adore. So
I,
that's what we're going with.
I I have an opinion on it that uh, I think it has gotten worse with time. I think that old school TVs that weren't so like you weren't in ultra HD, like it didn't just jump into your face so much. Like I think
Hmm.
the color pops out a little too much for me. We'll pull it up here. This is the one you're thinking of, right?
Yep, that would be it. Hmm.
Uh, yeah, I think in the '90s or early 2000s when TVs were a little scratchy screen that it didn't jump out as much. So I like the pick. I think a lot of people are going to agree with you on that pick, but I think in 2021 it's a little too much for the eyes for me.
Yeah, I said it's definitely a love hate. You hear people say about how ugly they are, and that's why I feel like it could be a controversial selection at fourth overall at my second pick. But to me, I love them. So
Tony, do not let the haters that are just going to hate deter you. Those are badass jerseys. I love everything that Oregon does. I love the highlighter. I love Thursday night color rush uniforms. Give me all the color. Give me the vibrant. Give me the rainbow. I love it. Great pick, Tony. Two picks back to back: the Raptors dinosaur / Barney jerseys and the creamsicle Buccaneers. Man, if there's only one negative I can say, it was that was their popular jersey when they went winless that one year that gets so well
exactly,
documented. But other than that, man, that's a fresh jersey. Behind some glass, get the throwback with Warren Sapp on it. My gosh,
Mm,
exactly.
love that. All right, so that means now that it's my turn. And again, another pick that I didn't have to make any adaptations to my board. So I'm going to go to the NBA, switching from the NFL for my number 2 overall pick, and a jersey that I don't know that many people crave to have, but I just love it. And that's going to be the 90s Orlando Magic pinstripe revival jerseys. Those with Shaquille O'Neal and Hardaway on them, man, they're synonymous with so many things. 90s playoff basketball, NBA Jam, Kazam, so many things that go into that jersey, and it's just an iconic piece of history. You had Shaquille O'Neal coming fresh out of LSU and making such a splash in the NBA. You had Tim Hardaway there as well. Those playoff runs they had matching up with, the Celtics and the teams of the East at the time. I just love those jerseys, and I would rock one all day, every day. So that's my 5th overall pick there. How do y'all feel about that?
in terms of jersey sales, you're going to knock it out of the park with that one because I feel like that the Penny Hardaway Magic jersey has to probably be one of the highest selling of all time because I feel like at any day drinking party that you're at in college or just out of college, you can probably at least find 2 people that are wearing that jersey.
Yeah, I love it as well. I do. Whether it's the black or the blue with the pinstripes, I just think that kind of brings us back to a time when, in my opinion, NBA jerseys were better than they are today. So
Mm-hmm.
I love the pick. I love the pick. I didn't have it. I was going to write it down, and I thought that I actually wrote it down, but I'm checking my list again, and I don't. So I love the pick, though.
All right. Well, the top 5 picks are in, so we'll recap the top 5. We went Jake first overall. He took the UNC Tar Heels, the baby blue jerseys. We all know them. They're synonymous with success. Roy Williams, just retired. Great man, great coach. Jake O, number 1 overall with that. I took the 2nd overall pick and went Chargers powder blue football uniforms. I just love them. They're beautiful. Everyone knows them. Then Tony knocks it out of the park with back-to-back picks. Again, this is a snake draft. So at number 3 and number 4 overall, he took the Raptors dinosaur/Barney jerseys and the creamsicle Buccaneer jerseys from the late 80s, early 90s. And man, strong closet he's building right there with those back-to-back picks. And then I came in with 5th overall. I went with the Orlando Magic pinstripe revivals, Shaquille O'Neal, Tim Hardaway, all the Space Jam synonymity that there is there. Love those jerseys. So that takes us to the number 6 overall pick. JT is the only person who does not have 2 jerseys in his closet. So JT, who we taking?
With how strong of a closet you guys are building, I'm questioning my picks now. So I try to do things a little differently here because I think, Tony, you mentioned it. You could do a draft just off of NBA jerseys. The NBA by far has the best alternates. They put out the most jerseys for their other teams. But I tried to be a little different. I tried to pull some other sports in. I'm still going to go with it. I'm going with the purple Mighty Ducks jersey. I feel like that just brings me back to my childhood. Great movie, The Mighty Ducks. And that's another team that I just don't understand why they ever changed their colors. They went to like an orange and a black. But that purple and teal blue, I feel like that's just a color combination that I love seeing. I think I'm going with the purple one, not the white one. I'm not a huge fan of white jerseys, so that's first hockey pick off the board for us.
I surprisingly, probably to a lot of people who know me, I have a couple of hockey jerseys on my list. Unfortunately, that's not one of them, and I'm very disappointed in myself. Like, what kind of sports fan am I at that I didn't consider that jersey? Strong pick, JT, but not one that comes off my board. Tony, where are we at with the Mighty Ducks?
Yeah, you gotta love it. I don't actually follow hockey as much as I do all the other sports, but when it comes to hockey jerseys, I feel like that Ducks jersey is one that does stand out, obviously with the movie and whatnot, but just the color combination, it's super unique, and I think it's a great pick.
All right, well, that means that Jake had the 3rd pick in the 2nd round, which means he has the 1st pick in the 3rd round. So, Jake, Mighty Ducks purple, that was hard. That was a good one. Can we top it with the 3rd pick of yours?
I'm going to stay out west. Similar color combination. I think my eyes just see a certain color, and I'm attracted to that color. So a lot of mine are similar. I'm going with the early 2000s Seattle Mariners teal jersey. That, in my mind, that is what first comes to mind is Ken Griffey Jr. Home Run Derby in Baltimore, the backwards hat, the teal jersey, and that beautiful swing. That's just one that will always live in my mind as one of the top jerseys.
Jake, great pick. Tony, how are we feeling?
Great pick. Absolutely. What JT just said about the kid, Griffey with the home run derby backwards hat. I mean, that's exactly what I think about. I actually have the jersey, so it was one that I had on the list. So,
and a lot of people forget that's the team with the most wins of all time. I think either 2000 or 2001 Mariners, 116 games.
Yep.
A-Rod, Ken Griffey, Randy Johnson. That's probably one of the best teams of all time not to win a championship.
And I will always remember that because I don't know what video game or what video game system was out at the time. But what I do remember is that whatever video game it was, the Mariners were the best team because their previous season record was like 103 wins. Ken Griffey Jr. was the highest rated player on the roster, and the second highest rated player in that video game was Aaron Boone.
Huh.
Taking it back.
I totally forget about him.
The second highest rated player on the Mariners roster the year after that record season was Aaron Boone.
Huh.
That's how I remember those teal jerseys, because Ken Griffey was on the front and Aaron Boone was sitting in second. So we're about halfway through here. That was the 7th pick in a 15 pick draft. And we've got some good ones off the board. Not a lot of drama yet, though. I think everyone's pretty solid with their picks and what they've lost out on from the other draftees. So I'm going to come out here and I'm going to start strong. And I hope, because I know JT's a baseball fan. I don't know about Tony, but I hope this takes something important off somebody's list. So with the 8th pick overall, I'm going to go with the Houston Astros 1975 Tequila Sunrise baseball jerseys. Those are just sick. I don't know anything about the history of the team at the time. I don't know if Houston was good then. I don't know who the pitchers were, but I can tell you right now, I see those jerseys everywhere, and every time I see them, they are astonishing. I love them. Worthy of a number 1 overall pick if you're a big baseball guy. I wanted to go football with mine. Gentlemen, did I ruin anybody's top 5?
It's outside my top 5 because it's one that it's before my time that I didn't really think about at first. I made my list, and then I just started Googling. I was looking for top jerseys of all time, and pretty much every list that you look at, that one's up there. So that's a great pick. I didn't have it high just because it didn't have a lot of it didn't really hold like deeply to me any sort of nostalgia, which is most of my list. But still, that's a phenomenal pick.
Love that. JT, thank you for the accolades. I went and put a lot of thought into that pick, so thank you. Tony, anything important coming off your board?
Yeah, so that was another one just like JT, where it's like whenever you go online and search for, top jerseys, not only in the MLB, but of all time in all sports, it's at the top. And though I love it as well, kind of as JT said, it doesn't really hold personal value to me because it was a little bit before my time. So though I love the jersey and I love the pick, it was outside of my top 5 as well.
Okay, so still no blood drawn here in this all-time top 5 jersey draft that we have going on. That's hard for me to believe. But we are now at the 3rd pick of the 3rd round, which means that Tony has back-to-back picks again. And he dropped a bombshell the last time. He went with the Raptors dinosaur and the Creamsicle Buccaneers. Tony, what do you have left for us, man?
So I think we're going to go back to the NBA, as a lot of my list is made up of, but we're going to go with, I think, an iconic jersey that was just brought back, I believe, by the team in recent years. And it's going to be the 1990s Utah Jazz, the purple jersey specifically. I know they have the white home jerseys, but, you think of the 1990s Jazz with Malone and Stockton being the big 2 names. I just love I love the color. I love the mountains in the background. I just love how everything kind of meshes together. And like I said, I do believe that they did bring them back. I remember Donovan Mitchell specifically wearing them, and Gobert now, obviously. So that would be my pick. I always just had a fascination with that color. I don't have any affiliation with the Jazz. I'm not a fan of the Jazz, but just love the jerseys.
JT, reaction.
That is on my list. That was about halfway down my list. So it's a pretty big pick off my board. The one thing I have to say about the Jazz is they need to figure it out because they have about every single colorway. they have a color combination for everything in the rainbow. So that I like that one. I don't like the orange ones. Not a huge fan of those. Sometimes they come out looking like the Pacers. I believe they have a yellow jersey also. So they just have way too much going on. But in terms of this jersey, the Stockton Malone, that's just a classic look from the 90s. So I agree with you there. That's one that's I regret not taking that one before you.
So this one is actually painful for me to see go. I thought that one was safe. But this was my one nostalgia pick. I can remember in the late 90s, early 2000s, whenever it may have been, I was probably 8 years old. We took our first trip to Nags Head, the Outer Banks, as it is, most people know. And I can remember being so sunburnt that the only place I could lay after day one was on my stomach. And I remember watching Karl Malone and Dennis Rodman going up and down the floor, tripping each other, pulling each other down, just trying to get back to the other side of the court after an inbound play because they would not leave each other alone and they were being so physical. And those jerseys, it's not the Red Bulls jerseys that stick out to me. It's not the white Bull jerseys with the black lettering or anything. It's those purple Jazz jerseys that stuck out to me from that memory. So damn you, Tony. And I hope that your second pick is a flop. So who do we got for the first overall pick in the 4th round?
Well, I'm looking at my list. I feel like I can go so many different ways. I'll switch gears a little bit. I'm not saying this team or this jersey specifically was next on my big board, but I'm going to throw them in there anyway because I love it. I'm going to go to the MLB and stay out west and stay with the purple color scheme in a sense. And I'm going to pick the 2000 era Arizona Diamondbacks. That's kind of, I feel like maybe an oddball. I don't know if you guys had that on your list or not, but
that was my next pick.
Okay, well there we go. So,
I gotta ask. Yeah, I gotta ask. Who's the first player that comes to mind when you think about the purple Diamondback jerseys?
I just think Randy Johnson, honestly, when he was
Nice.
there, and then and then I mean the world. I believe they wore those when they won the World Series. That was the jersey.
I think of a specific moment because
absolutely.
So I remember because I mean I'm a Pirates fan, but growing up they were awful. So I actually turned into a Yankees fan because as a kid you see them winning all the time, and you just kind of jump on the bandwagon because you're a little kid and you just like seeing your team win. And they crushed my soul. Luis Gonzalez, blooper up the middle, him jumping up in the air as he goes to first base. That's these jerseys will always stick out in my mind because of that play.
And that was the one I was thinking too. For some reason, the name Craig Counsell comes to mind for me when I think about those jerseys. And just man, that run they had there in the early 2000s. That was a fun team to watch. Great solid pick.
Yeah, something else with those jerseys. I think that this is a look that should come back. The vest jerseys, I was always a fan of those. The Pirates had one, like a gray vest with the red sleeves for a while. Mm-hmm. I always loved those baseball jerseys, and that was synonymous with like the early to mid 2000s. A lot of teams were going that direction, but I think that should make a comeback.
Yeah, I mean, those are beautiful as well. The vest jerseys are good. Let's just take a quick intermission here, and I want to get everyone's opinion on something because we're talking about the best jerseys, and we're doing a draft here. We've got some good picks, but we're only talking about the good ones. Does anybody have the Acme Packers or the Pittsburgh Bumblebee jersey on their list?
No. I dread when the Steelers decide to wear those Bumblebee jerseys.
I didn't think so, and I've got to be honest with you. I think we're in the minority because of all the lists I looked up, that jersey and, well, those two, the Acme Packers and the Bumblebee Steeler jerseys, were on there. And I for the life of me, I don't know if maybe there's some European love with those jerseys because they represent kind of the rugby style, and rugby's really big over there. I can't really put my finger on why, but that's always on one of the top lists of jerseys is those two. And God, they're awful.
Yeah, I'll never understand that. I don't care how much it has to do with rugby. They're just flat out wrong.
All right, so before we get to the next round here, or at least wrap up the 4th round before we go into are we in the 3rd round? We're in the 3rd round.
No, 4th round. He just took his first pick in the 4th round.
Well, he took the Utah Jazz Purples, and then we're in the 3rd round now? I thought we were doing 5.
Yeah, because he just took the Diamondbacks with the 4th.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're about to start the 4th round?
Okay. Yeah, you'll be next up with the 2nd pick. In the 4th round.
And if we're going to be completely honest with everybody, I hit the enter button one too many times, and my numbers were off. So I'm looking at 16 spots, and we're only drafting 15. So my bad. So let's review. We started off, and everyone said how many they had on their big board. I had 12. JT, how many did you have?
13.
And Tony?
16.
16. So let's talk about big boards now, more than halfway through the draft. I have 8 of my 12 left. Tony, how many of your 16 do you have?
I still got 9.
Oh, that's a big hit. Okay, JT.
I've got 6 left.
Oh, okay. All right.
I had a few extra ones on the side, so you guys are taking. I mean, you guys have made very good choices that you're picking from my list. So I think the few that I have left, I feel confident they're gonna. I have 2 picks left in me.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go now to the second pick in the 4th round. It took us a while to get that down, but we were in the 4th round here. It took me a while. I apologize. So I'm going to go now that I know that I'm going to get my 5th overall pick. I'm going to go with a jersey that I think is just sick. There's really no historical connotation to it that I know of. There's no nostalgia to it. It's just a jersey I wish I owned, and I wish a player I cared about played for this team so that I could buy one and proudly display this jersey. But I don't, and I digress. My pick is going to be the Miami Heat vice versa jerseys, also known as the Miami Vice jerseys. These jerseys, man, the blackout with the cotton candy going, with the light blue and the pink with the white accents, dude, they're sick. They're clean. You can just see enjoying being an owner and or wearer of that jersey. So that's where I'm going to go with that. Does that hurt anybody's remaining picks?
That was my next one. That was the jersey that was commented on our post today. And but Juan Carlos that works with me, he's originally from Miami. We were talking about it. I think he actually had the other Vice jersey that's not the black one. It's actually the blue and the pink kind of intermixed together. Yeah. But I think the black one's a little bit of a cleaner look. So that's the one that I was going with. And I think that blue and pink, those specific colors are just perfectly Miami. Yes. I think that just describes the nightlife and just how anyone that lives in Miami, that's just like, it just screams them.
You know, I watched Jersey Shore, and I don't care if y'all hate that about me or not, but that's a guilty pleasure of mine. I love that show. It makes me feel like there's hope for me and the trash that I do. So I just feel like every time they went on, when they were down in Miami, that was the neon that every club went with. It was always a version of light blue and pink. And you're absolutely right. That's Miami living at its finest. Tony, is that going to affect your final pick here?
I don't think it is going to. I love it. It was one that I considered, but for me, there's just so many throwbacks that I have that made the cut above that jersey. I love the jersey. That's one of the few jerseys in the NBA that they come out with now that I love. I don't think that color scheme works for any other team except Miami, as you guys mentioned, but I love it. I love the way with the black jerseys, the blue and the pink. I think it's a great pick, and I like to see them wear more.
All right. Well, the beauty of every snake draft is that there are 2 people who get to pick back-to-back. Tony chose the back-to-back first. JT chose to come up with the last back-to-back picks of this draft. Jake, the pressure is on. There's list to destroy. I have a pick left. Tony has a pick left. You have 2. Who are we taking with that first pick?
So I struggled with this one because there is a pick, there's a jersey that there's a throwback from, I believe, the 80s, early 90s. And then they brought the jersey back, and there's a current alternate jersey that's similar. They just revamped it to make it current. And I'm having a tough time picking which one's which. But I think I'm going to go with the actual throwback. I'm going to throw the screen up here just to show you which ones I'm talking about. Let's see. Share the screen. Let's slide over here. The Nuggets jerseys, the Rainbow City jerseys. I think it's similar in. Thank you. Great service here at Wilcox Street, but
my boy. So hold on, no. So for those of you that are watching on Facebook, JT just had another drink hand delivered to him mid-sentence, mid-show, and I am thoroughly impressed.
I see. I asked for the Truly Punchback, and they had them available, so I had to get one right away.
Jumping into it, but go ahead and continue with these beautiful Rainbow City jerseys.
I just think so. Have you guys seen the current ones that they released that are similar to this?
Yeah, they have a little bit more sublimation. I know the 90s was the introduction of sublimation, but the technology has come so far. The
Yeah. So
the
these ones are
newer
the
ones
blue
are a
ones.
little bit current.
So these are the current ones. They went with the black jersey, and the rainbow is more faded. I just like, I don't know what it is about the rainbow jersey, but that's just one that always sticks out to my mind of early '90s basketball. You got the Bulls, you got the Jazz, like Tony said, and then that's the next one that stands out in my mind. So I had to go with that.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the Rainbow City throwbacks as well. I do not like the black ones. I love the blue ones as the base color. Tony, is that coming off your board?
It won't be coming off my board, but another pick that anything when it comes to 80s or 90s and early 2000s NBA, I mean, you can't go wrong in my opinion with it. But I agree. I love that version more than I do the one that they had brought back, the variation of it they brought back. So solid pick.
Okay. All right, Jake. Last pick of the draft. We are building our top 5 all-time jersey collection closets. Strong pick with the Nuggets Rainbow City, Jake, but this is the last pick of the whole draft. Who is the last coveted piece going in the closet?
There there are three that really stick out. I have four left on the board, and three of them I'm having a tough time picking between. But I'm just going to have to go locally here. I'm going to have to go with my Pirates, and I'm going to go with the 1976 We Are Family jerseys, the gold jerseys with the black pants and the black hat that's with the yellow stripes. I think, I mean, for as a Pirates fan, for anybody else out there that has to dread through the Buccos, you had the early '90s where they made the playoffs. They tried, they lost to the Braves a few times, but that 1976 team is the last World Series team. So we at least get to see those jerseys on Sundays and remind us that we once won a World Series and we may win one again eventually, but probably not for a long time.
Yeah, I'm a fan of those uniforms as well. And like you said, it's more than a jersey. It's the jersey, the pants, the whole uniform, the hats included. I think I see a lot more of those hats than I see any other hats. To be honest with you, where I'm from,
Yeah,
we
in
have
terms
a
of anybody over the age of 50 in Pittsburgh, if they have a Pirates hat, I feel like it's probably that one.
okay. So strong pick there. Back to back, the last one of the whole draft. Jake went Nuggets, Rainbow City, and the We Are Family 1976 Pirates jersey. Finishing strong. Jake had a great draft. We'll recap his picks right now. He started number 1 overall with the UNC Tar Heels Powder Blues. Then he went with the purple Mighty Ducks jerseys, followed by the Mariners teal jerseys made famous by Ken Griffey Jr. and company. And then he finished up strong with the Nuggets Rainbow City and the 1976 We Are Family Pirates jersey. Jake, heck of a draft, man. I think that's a really strong one to beat. I can't wait to see what the fans have to say when we post it, but we have 2 more picks to get to. Mine is the last one for the day, or this is the last one of the day for me. And man, I've still got 7 on my list. One of them is UVA, and it hurts me to not have to have a UVA jersey on here because I love my Wahoos, the Who's, the Cavaliers, whatever you want to call them. And the honorable mention, I'm just going to throw it out there, the 90s Reebok UVA blue with the orange accents. I just love them. I think of Roger Mason Jr. I think of J.R. Reynolds. I think of so many, Elton Brand. I think of so many good players that came through there and so many great seasons with those jerseys. But I was really in love with the current UVA jerseys as well. So they washed each other out. And with my last pick of the 2021 draft, I'm going to go with the 1990s Atlanta Hawks. JT, you made homage to it. one of the only logos in the NBA at the time that showed the mascot clinching the ball was the Raptors, and the Atlanta Hawks came out with this one. And the Hawk is on the front. He is spread Hawk, if you will, and he has got a basketball clenched in his talons right on the front. I think of so many great players that came through wearing that jersey, and I just love the ferocity of the Hawk just right in your face, clinching the basketball. So I want to take that one, and that's going to be the last one I add to my closet. I don't think it was coming off of anybody's list, but it was one I wanted to make sure I got, and I thought I would have no problem getting. How did I do?
That's one that I actually didn't even think about. That completely skipped my mind, but it's a great pick. I love that logo. It's just one that, for some reason, that just slipped right through my mind.
So
well, shame on you.
I had it on my list.
Tony, you did have it.
I did have it. Yeah, I love that jersey as well. Just again, I keep referencing the '90s NBA. Just love it. I love everything about that jersey. Yeah, but I think of like Matumba. Just there's so many. I think that was one of the iconic jerseys of the '90s. It was on my list. Yeah, great pick.
All right, so we'll wrap up there with my 5 picks. With mine, I went Chargers powder blue, Orlando Magic with the pinstripe revivals, paying homage to the 90s with Hardaway and Shaquille O'Neal. I also went Houston Astros tequila sunrise, which first debuted in 1975. I took the Miami Heat vice versa, the black with the pink and the light blue accents, and then the 1990s Atlanta Hawks with the Hawk clinching the ball on the front, fully expanded. Love that jersey. And now it's time for the final pick, the Mr. Irrelevant of our 2021 all-time jersey draft. But with only 15 total picks, there's not that many irrelevancies. Tony, how are we finishing this draft, man?
A lot of options that I have left that I feel like I can go with. And it's a tough decision, but I'm going to head back to the NBA. And with my last pick, there's still a few NBA jerseys that I have listed here, but the one that I have ranked the highest on my big board is going to be the 1990s Phoenix Suns. Ooh, that's going to be what we're going to go with. Yeah, the Barkley. Yep, that's just all purple with the sun kind of shooting up from the jersey. Just one that I've always loved. I don't know, it doesn't really have much, historic value, I feel like, but nonetheless, that's what we're going to go with. I really like the color scheme of the jersey.
I'm surprised you went with the purple one, because in my mind, when I think of Charles Barkley in the Suns jersey, I think of the black one.
Yeah.
I guess the purple one is their color, but for some reason that the black one's the first one that pops in my mind.
Yeah.
But both great jerseys. I like that logo.
Yeah.
So is there a moment in Suns history in the 90s that sticks out to you with those jerseys?
Honestly, no. I mean, the team doesn't have any relevance to me. I never was a Suns fan or anything. It's just another one of the NBA jerseys that, especially when I was looking over the last day or so, just really have admiration for. So that's what we're going to go with. There's a couple other NBA jerseys that I would have liked to have picked. There's a couple more jerseys in general that I would have loved to have been able to put in the closet, but.
Let's wrap up with you, Brandon. You want to go over his picks, and then you want to get into some honorable mentions. We can get into what else is on our list.
Absolutely. So Tony went with the first double back-to-back picks. He went Raptors to dinosaur jerseys, which, God, that was such a strong pick. I know it had to come off of everybody's board. Such a strong pick. Vince Carter synonymous. Then we went with the creamsicle Buccaneers. There is some animosity there, but you know what? Haters are going to hate. We love the jersey, so back off. Then Tony went with the 1990 Utah Jazz purples, Stockton, Malone, Russell. You know it. Most of the synonymity, I guess would be the word, that comes with those jerseys, I feel, is like when MJ's knocking them out of the playoffs. But they're beautiful jerseys nonetheless. Then he went with the purple Diamondback jerseys from 99, 2000. And then he finished up strong with the 1990s Phoenix Suns purple edition. Sir Charles Barkley is being honored.
A lot of purple in your draft.
I just realized that I
a little bit.
Don't necessarily love the color purple, but I guess when it comes to jerseys, I do. So I just realized that as you were naming them off.
And I want to say a massive amount of respect because the last 3 picks that you made, you said no affiliation, no real memory, no real nostalgia. I just like the jersey. And that's what this draft
Right.
was about, damn it. And you came and you brought
Exactly.
it as a guest, and I love it. So let's talk about your honorable mentions. Give me the top 5 now that the draft is over, and who's left as the top 5 on your list.
For me, I have left a couple more NBA jerseys. I was thinking about the '90s teal Pistons.
Mm.
I like the Allen Iverson 76ers of the early 2000s. And then you can't go wrong with the teal Vancouver Grizzlies.
Yeah, I had that one on my board with you.
Those are 3 of the actually, and you know what? One more NBA one while I'm on it that I just thought of was the I believe late '90s, 2000s Houston Rockets, where it was like the blue and then the white, obviously, where it was like the pinstripes, and they had the rocket that was like shooting. I think of like Steve Francis. Steve Francis was one of my guys back in the day, but that was
would
another
that have
NBA
been
one.
would that have been the jerseys that they wore on the 2 championship teams?
Yes.
Or is that
I don't know.
That was 94, 95, or 95, 96,
I believe
whatever.
so. Yeah, I think they are.
Yeah, that's also a great pick. Another NBA jersey that I had was the Supersonics, the green and gold.
Yeah.
Oh, those are good. Gary Payton, my gosh.
That's
Kevin Garnett.
Do you prefer the green and gold with like Sonics across the whole thing, or the Space Needle jerseys that had a little bit of red and the Space Needle was coming up as the eye? Both great jerseys, but I usually tend to stick with just the green and gold one, but I know I've seen a lot of people with the red Space Needle one.
Yeah, that's my favorite is the green with the Space Needle. That's the one I think most when I think of the playoff moments that they've had. So yeah, I love that. What else do you have, JT? We looked at his honorable mentions. What do you have?
So I'm going to throw this up on the screen because a lot of mine, I mean, if I don't know what to say about them without just showing a picture because they don't really stand out too much in terms of name, but the current Colorado Avalanche alternate jerseys, I just love what they did with these. I'm not a fan of a lot of jerseys that have just come out recently in 2020, 2021, but I think the alternate logo that they came up with, it has enough differentiation with the mountains in the back. Nice design there. And I think the colors with the red and the maroon, I think that's just a good color combo for them.
Yeah, those are nice. I like those. All right, so the picks that I didn't put in, man, I love the Cleveland Cavaliers, the orange and blue jerseys that they had. Those are good. The Capitals 1970s throwbacks with the 5 stars across the front, I liked those. The one that I wish I would have picked, now that I'm sitting here looking at my list, it's rare, and that's why I like it. There was a Detroit Pistons Lightning jersey where there was lightning underneath the word Pistons or the word Detroit. I can't remember specifically which word is on their front, but it's like a horizontal lightning bolt that goes across, and you don't see it very much anymore. They don't wear it very often, if ever, but I love that one. I had the 1955s 49ers throwbacks, the traditional scarlet with the gold helmets. Love those. And then one of my favorite jerseys, based because of what happened when this player, Kobe Bryant, wore it, was the Lakers blue and gold Minneapolis tribute, the one that has MPLS on the front. For those that you don't know, the LA Lakers started in Minneapolis, and that was their homage to Roots line that they did, and that green and gold, or that blue and gold. But I also didn't want to have 2 of the same because I got the Chargers, and if we're being honest, you could also throw the Allen Iverson Nuggets jerseys with Carmelo Anthony on there as well. So that's our picks.
In terms of Lakers jerseys, another one that alternate wise that I liked of theirs was their Sunday jerseys, the whites. They usually went with the purple or the golds, but the Kobe era Lakers, especially the back-to-back championship teams, that was a classic for them. They wore the whites a lot that season.
Yeah, those are a classic jersey.
Tony. One more I got. Sorry.
Go ahead.
The Braves late 70s Hank Aaron throwbacks. They're gray with the blue bright blue sleeves and the cursive Atlanta writing. That was one last one that they've actually brought back. I think the Braves are wearing those a lot this year, and they've kind of revamped them. I really like those ones, but it just missed my board.
And I'm glad you said that because my question was going to be, Tony, you didn't make a lot of baseball picks, if any. I don't think you made any. Are there any?
Diamondbacks, right?
The Diamondbacks. Outside of the Diamondbacks, are there any other baseball jerseys that made your list?
There was one, and I'm sure it's probably one that neither of you had. I don't think it's very beloved, but I, through my research, forgot how much I did enjoy it. But it was the late 1990s Tampa Bay Devil Ray jersey with that said Devil Rays, and it transitioned from like blue to yellow, I believe. It was very colorful.
Oh yeah, it had the actual Devil Ray on the logo.
Right. Yeah.
So that was a good one.
Back before they had to take the word devil out of their name.
It was far on my list. I didn't anticipate it making my top 5, but I wrote it down nonetheless.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this. This was a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what other people have to say, to see if they agree with us or if maybe they just disagree completely and don't have any of these on their list.
Yeah, and that's always what we're trying to do here, gentlemen. We're trying to gain some interaction. So, ladies, gentlemen that are out there in the audience, keep an eye on our social media. Again, at Sports with BJ, at Sports Shift Media, at JTZ4, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're everywhere. We will be posting the results. My closet, JT's closet, Tony's closet. We want you to vote. Who has the best closet when it comes to jersey collection? We just drafted it. We didn't do this for no reason. So please help us out. Make some votes and show us what you think. For Tony, thanks for being here, man. Anything you want to say to the fans before we get out of here?
I just appreciate you guys having me on. This was a lot of fun, and hope to do something like this again someday.
Absolutely. Thanks for being here. JT, any last words this evening?
No, I keep trying to grow this YouTube channel, so go like and subscribe at Sports Shift Media on YouTube. We'll try to keep doing things like this that fun for everybody to get involved. So have a good weekend, everybody. Long weekend. Enjoy the extra Memorial Day, and yeah, that's all I got.
Absolutely. And please celebrate freedom responsibly. You see, I've already got my colors on. I'm ready for the weekend. It's brewskis on brewskis. We know what it is, but please do so responsibly. For JT, for Tony, I'm Brandon of Sports with BJ. Thanks for joining us on Press Break, the off season, and we'll see you next Friday.